The Almighty God initiated the partnership, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Dear friends, a king lived in Greece. The king had only one daughter who was extremely beautiful. Since the king had only one daughter, he wanted to give his son-in-law such precious things in dowry that the world would remember them for centuries. For this purpose he was collecting things from all over the world. Therefore he had made an announcement throughout the world that whoever possessed any beautiful and unique item should bring it to him. In return, he would pay the price they demanded. Upon hearing this announcement, traders from far and wide would come and present their items to the king, receiving great rewards in return. Amir was also a trader. He was a highly dishonest and cunning merchant. He always provided his customers with inferior goods, and through his sweet and persuasive talk, charged them high prices. When he heard the king's announcement, his mouth started watering, and he began to think about what item he could take to the king. Eventually, a scheme formed in his deceitful mind through which he could earn a reward from the king. He took an ostrich egg and boiled it thoroughly so that it would not break. Then, taking it with him, he set off toward the king's kingdom. Upon reaching the king's country, he stayed at an inn, and at night he painted and polished the boiled egg, making it look extremely beautiful. The next morning he reached the king's court and said, "Your Majesty, before me many traders must have presented you with very beautiful and astonishing things, but the item I have brought for you has no equal in the entire world." The king was very pleased with the merchant's words. He immediately said, "Merchant, present your unique item before us. If it is truly one of a kind, we will reward you with whatever you ask. And if you prove to be truthful, we will grant you a place in our royal court." Upon hearing this, the merchant's face lit up with joy. He took out the boiled chicken egg, which he had painted and polished, from the pouch tied around his waist, and respectfully presented it before the king, saying, "Your Majesty, this is the most precious pearl in the world. No king on earth can afford its price. However, since it is your son's wedding, I have brought it to you. Please accept this invaluable pearl from me. I am certain that the princess will love it." When the king saw the colorful egg, he jumped with joy because he had never seen such a pearl before. He said to the merchant, "This diamond truly looks extremely beautiful to me. We have never seen such a diamond before. We will reward you with whatever you desire, but before that we will show it to the princess. It is possible that she may not like this diamond. Besides, if its pair were also available, it would be even better." Saying this, the king handed the merchant's presented egg to a maid and sent it to the princess. The princess was sitting among her friends. When she took the pearl from the maid and examined it, she immediately realized that it was a chicken egg painted with colors. The princess saw through the merchant's deception, but she did not reveal it. In reality, she wanted to punish the merchant for his trickery. So she sent a message to the king through the maid, saying, "I like the diamond, but order the merchant to bring me another exactly like it so that I can wear both pearls in my ears. If the merchant refuses to bring another diamond, he should be beheaded." When the maid delivered this message to the king, he told the merchant, "Brother, our daughter liked your diamond, but she has set a condition. You will be paid the price for the diamond only when you bring another one exactly like it. If you fail to bring the second diamond, your head will be cut off." When the merchant heard the princess's condition from the king's lips, his face turned pale. He thought, "What should I do now? If I boil another chicken egg, I may not be able to paint and polish it exactly like the first one." However, fearing for his life, he said to the king, "Your Majesty, as per the princess's command, I will bring another diamond. For that, I need a month's time, along with gold coins, so that I can bribe those who possess such diamonds." Because the king was a straightforward and simple man, he gave the merchant 100,000 gold coins without consulting the princess. Taking the money, the merchant disappeared from the kingdom. He had already received 100,000 gold coins for the price of a mere chicken egg. Why would he stay there any longer? As soon as the merchant left the king's kingdom, he travelled to a distant land. There, he used the 100,000 gold coins to purchase a grand palace and began living in luxury. This merchant's name was Amir. When he fled, the princess said to her father, "Why did you give that deceiver 100,000 gold coins? He simply sold you a chicken egg and will never return." When the king heard this from his daughter, he became furious with rage. He angrily said, "That cunning man claimed that this was a diamond, which is why I gave him 100,000 gold coins so that he could bring another one just like it. Daughter, why didn't you tell me earlier that this merchant was a child of the devil trying to deceive us?" In response, the princess said, "Father, how was I to know that you would give him 100,000 gold coins so hastily? I thought that if you had to give him something, you would consult me first. After all, you have always asked for my advice before rewarding as any merchant." It was then that the king realized his mistake. He had erred by not consulting his daughter. However, since the mistake had already been made, the king declared, "We will not let that cunning merchant live. Even if he burrows underground, we will find him. I never forgive those who deceive me." Hearing her father's decision, the princess said, "Father, how will you capture this cunning merchant? It is obvious that he must have escaped to another country, but who knows which one? Perhaps he has gone to a kingdom where the king is your enemy and will refuse to hand him over." This thought had not occurred to the king. He then asked the princess, "You are right, daughter. Then what should be done?" The princess replied, "Do not worry, father. I will be the one to punish this devil, and I will give him such a punishment that the entire world will remember it." Saying this, the princess, dressed in men's attire, mounted her horse and set off in search of the deceitful merchant. She travelled from one kingdom to another, first one country, then a second, then a third, and a fourth, until she had wandered through 80 different lands in search of him. Finally, she reached the country where the merchant lived. After inquiring among the locals, she soon discovered that a newly wealthy man had recently arrived and had built a magnificent palace. His name was Amir. The princess became suspicious that this newly wealthy man was indeed the same deceitful merchant. So she went to the merchant's palace and said to the gatekeeper, "I have come from a distant land and wish to meet your master. I have urgent business with him." The gatekeeper asked, "Young man, what is your name? And what business do you have with the merchant?" The princess, who was disguised as a boy, replied, "My name is Samir, and I have come to seek employment from the merchant. I am very poor and in great need." The gatekeeper took pity on the princess's innocent face. He left her standing at the door and went inside to inform the merchant. At that time, the merchant was counting his gold coins. Hearing the gatekeeper's request, he said, "I have no need for any servants. I already have so many that a large sum of my wealth is spent on their wages. Tell this young man to leave at once." The gatekeeper replied, "Sir, he seems to be in great distress. He's quite young, and it is possible that his parents have passed away, forcing him to work. Please, give him a job." The merchant, moved by the gatekeeper's words, agreed and said, "Fine, hire him to massage my horses and inform him that he will receive 4 gold coins every month." Saying this, the merchant resumed counting his wealth. The princess had no interest in the salary. Her only aim was to get close to the merchant and punish him for his deception. So she accepted the job of massaging the horses and began living in a small room within the merchant's palace. The merchant was a cunning man, although he had never seen the princess when he sold the painted egg to her father. When he saw her disguised in men's clothing, suspicion arose in his mind. "This is no ordinary boy," he thought. "Could this be the king's princess?" With this suspicion, the merchant began looking for an opportunity to see her in her true form. He planned to kill her and hide her body in the basement of the palace. However, he did not let his suspicions show and acted as if he knew nothing.
Both were waiting for the perfect moment, the princess to punish the merchant and the merchant to kill the princess. After finishing her work massaging the horses, the princess would go straight to her room and silently dig a tunnel at night. She planned to use this tunnel to reach the merchant's room, as getting there by normal means was extremely difficult. She had been digging for 10 nights and had almost reached the merchant's room when he discovered the tunnel. One night, while the princess was inside the tunnel, the merchant secretly followed her. The merchant placed a large stone at the entrance of the tunnel, trapping the princess inside. He was overjoyed, thinking that without food, water, and fresh air, the princess would die inside the tunnel. The princess only realized the merchant's betrayal when she finished digging, and just before dawn tried to return to her room, only to find a massive stone blocking the entrance. She tried to move it, but it was too heavy. At that moment, she understood that the merchant had discovered her true identity and was the one who had placed the stone. Terrified of dying inside the tunnel, she began to weep. Just then, she heard a strange hissing sound near her feet. The sound frightened her so much that she fainted on the spot. A little while later, when she regained consciousness, she was shocked to see that it was not a snake, but an extraordinarily handsome young man standing before her. The young man spoke. "Princess, do not worry. I will not harm you. I am the very serpent that has lived for over 100 years, and I can transform into anything I desire. The merchant is a wicked man. When he built this palace, he killed my 2 children and my wife. Since then, I have wanted revenge, but I could not take it myself. Only a human can punish him. Now that you wish to punish him, I will help you in every way I can. I will dissolve this stone as if it were water, allowing you to escape the tunnel." Hearing the serpent's words, the princess felt relieved but replied, "I do not wish to escape through this exit. Instead, I want to emerge directly into the merchant's chamber to punish him. Help me achieve this." The serpent nodded and said, "Very well. I will use my venomous breath to create a hole in the floor of the merchant's chamber. You can climb up and punish him." With that, the serpent and the princess made their way to the other end of the tunnel. There, the serpent released a deadly hiss, burning a hole through the floor of the merchant's room. The princess climbed up and killed the sleeping merchant. At the same time, the serpent sealed the tunnel forever with its breath and vanished for eternity. That night, the princess secretly returned to her palace. So, dear friends, one should never deceive others, because sooner or later, justice is served. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.